as we move along addressing your questions and comments. Let's take our first caller. And who am I speaking with tonight? Okay. Who's next? Who am I speaking with? Hello? Hello there. Is anyone there? Don. Is it Don? I'm not hearing you, Don, if you're there. I'm ready. Derek, are you ready?
Oh, yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. I thought I was still on.
That's okay, Derek.
God bless all of you. I'm a big fan of Waleed and Kamal. I love Kamal's testimony. It still brings tears. So I hear it. I've heard it so many times, and it never gets old.
God bless you.
Two quick questions.
Sure.
I'll make it very quick. I was wondering if I could get whoever, Waleed, or comment on Surah 4, verse 95, about the two grades of Muslims, the not equal of those Muslims who sit at home versus those who go out and fight.
Derek, let's
and also Surah 929
okay.
to verse 30. If you could comment on those two surahs. And God bless you, Waleed. I hope you come back to Texas very soon. I would love to meet you and talk Bible prophecy with you. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Waleed, would you like to address those questions, please? Thank you.
Of course, Islam encouraged the actual warfare and jihad versus people who stayed at home. In fact, Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, says, "Al-mu'min al-qawiyyu khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if," that even a stronger Muslim, physically stronger, is better than a weak Muslim. So the emphasis on physical strength beguiles me when it comes to Christian theology. God wanted us to focus on the weak as well, not just basically physical strength. And that basically Islamic invasions required Muslims, if they are able physically to go into warfare, and if they are not able physically to go into warfare, then they will fund jihad bi-amwalihim, with their finances. So this is where Brother Abdullah ignored the issue and did not bring the issue of Islamic financing. Even if you look at zakat, Zakat has 8 prongs in Islam, and one of the 8 prongs in Islam, the last prong and the 8th prong, is that zakat is to be spent fi sabilillah, for the cause of Allah. And that is in spreading Islam vis-a-vis the political means, vis-a-vis the da'wah, which is basically proselytization, and vis-a-vis also as well as in warfare. So the warfare has been written for the Muslim in the Quran itself. Surah 9 is, of course, is very clear, is dealing with the people of the book in that very verses. مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ, as the people of the book, to be declared jihad upon them and to kill them wherever they're found. And this is why Islamic expansionism began against the really Judeo-Christian world. Islam is not really an argument against Buddhist or atheist per se, although it does comment on believing in Allah and the prophets and so on and so forth, and it does address atheism at a minimal level, but really its objection really is with the Judeo-Christian world. This is why the Quranic arguments has always been with the issues of the Trinity, the issues of the Jews, the issues of basically Christianity and Christendom itself, and this is why warfare expanded also into Christendom in the Islamic history.
Okay, great. Do we have another caller? And if you are, could you tell us your name and what is your question? Don, could you talk to us, please?
Hello.
Hello. What's your question, sir?
Yes, I believe that the age of the idea of setting up governments with religious basis is ridiculous. Israel is a ridiculous concept because it's set up as a Jewish state. The Palestinian state set up as a Islamic state is ridiculous. What we need is secular government set up by, autonomous people having independent elections. And, we need to use the early United States as a model. Freedom from religion, I think, would be a good model.
Would anyone like to comment on that?
Saudi Arabia being an Islamic state is ridiculous. Look, we don't control the world. I do hear the caller that our constitution based on freedom of expression and so on and so forth, and this is a free country, and it's but America itself is not really this non-Christian country. It does not, the Constitution does not basically undermine Christianity. It just wants to basically protect the state from church oppressions that they've faced in Europe. So they don't want to have a replica of what happened in Europe with church control over state. So it wanted to protect the state. But that does not mean that America, as the United States, is void from Christian expression. So let's not say that we can eliminate religion, because the danger with eliminating religion is that I can prove beyond shadow of a doubt that any country that abandoned Christianity and Christian ethics have always ended in tyranny. It's been proven fact, whether the French Revolution or during Nazi Germany. And any country that has never practiced Christian faith has always been tyrannical vis-a-vis Islam, vis-a-vis the ancient societies, the Mayans, the Hindus. I mean, it was Christianity that removed the idea of women in India burning themselves after their husband died, because in Christianity, a woman can marry after the husband's death. So I think simplistic views on the issue of religion is really a dangerous thing, and we've seen that through our history. And this is the young generation of Americans and university campuses learning this kind of thing. I think we need to be looking at the issue of religion in a scientific view. Christianity, the Bible itself, Judaism, can be studied scientifically. And the whole issue of saying Israel should be a totally secular state and not being a Jewish state is a ludicrous one. Jerusalem has always been a holy place for the Jewish people. And I believe Brother Qidar can also comment on that issue. I'd like to hear his views as well.
Brother Qidar, can you talk to us? Dr. Qidar. Dr. Qidar?
And just in conjunction to what the brother Walid said, religion as itself has no problem if it's a religion of a state. The problem is when religion starts to be a weapon against others. Because if somebody goes to pray 5 times a day or 3 times a day, if he fasts on Ramadan, this is nothing. This is no problem at all. The problem is that when he starts imposing his religion on others, and if they do not embrace his religion, he starts killing them. And this is where jihad is. So religion, whatever religion is, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, whatever, is no problem. The problem is when people start to kill each other in the name of any religion. And this is where the problem lies. And according to what Walid said about Jerusalem, Jerusalem was the capital of the Jews 3,000 years ago, when the forefathers of the Arabs, or the Arabs of those days, were burying their daughters alive, were drinking wine, and were worshipping idols and idolaters. Only in the 7th century, the end of the 7th century, Jerusalem was sanctified by the Caliph Yazid ben Muawiyah because of the rebellion of Abdullah ibn Zubayr in Mecca, who blocked the ways to Hajj in front of the people from Damascus, from the Sham, because of various reasons, mainly because of the fact that Yazid in 680, 2 years earlier, decapitated the Hussein bin Ali, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So the Caliph who acts in such a way to Muslims should not be given the right to come to Hajj. So this is why Abdullah bin Zubayr blocked the ways to Hajj, and Yazid bin Muawiyah, the Caliph, looked for an alternative place for pilgrimage, and this is why he chose Jerusalem. However, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which everybody thinks today that is in Jerusalem, originally was in a village named Al-Ji'rana between Mecca and Taif, according to various Islamic sources. But it was imported in a way to Jerusalem in order to sanctify Jerusalem on the expense of Mecca, because Yazid wanted to divert the Hajj from Mecca to Jerusalem. The whole thing is about politics in Islam. This is why, and this is what I say, all the struggles, all the political struggles between tribes, between clans, between people, between families in Islam is the source of problems of Muslims before everybody else, and the rest of the world as well. And as you know, the rift between the Shias and the Sunnis, which was centuries almost, was also about the struggle of the caliphate between Ali bin Abi Talib, the fourth caliph, and Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, the fifth one, who took the caliphate for him for no reason before him. But this struggle within Islam projects itself to others, and they kill each other in order to prove that every side wants to prove that he is the Hizb Allah and not Hizb Shaitan. He is the party of Allah and not the party of the Satan.
Dr. Kedar, thank you so much. We're going to wind the show down here at the very end. Abdullah Kunda, we've got about, let's say, 5 minutes left in the show. Could you make some final comments, let's say roughly a minute or so, and then we'll try to finish up with Walid and Kamal, and then we're going to end it for the night. Could you talk to us a little bit about, is there anything left undone that you'd like to share? I know we don't have a lot of time here, but would you like to make any comments, any responses?
Sure thing. As you can imagine, it effectively being a 3-on-1 conversation, I do have a few things to say. Look, basically, I'd just like to very quickly answer one of Walid's challenges, that we've never made a confession against wrongdoing that we've done in the past. Look, certainly, at the very least, everybody knows that when Al-Hakim burnt down the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, the Muslims actually rose up against that in that time. And there would be many, many other examples throughout history. Walid is just being convenient for the sake of this being a 2-hour program and me not being able to respond to every single issue. I also note that Kamal didn't actually answer my question about the 2006 war in Lebanon and the impact that had on Beirut. I imagine as a former citizen of that country and a resident of that city, he wouldn't actually be able to look the audience in the eye and suggest that was done in the aim of civility. It certainly wasn't. Likewise, Kamal has said that Palestinian refugees in Arab countries are given everything. Well, that's absolutely not true. And I don't need to live there to know that we still have family over there today that don't actually have citizenship in Lebanon. Palestinians that were born there, that their parents were even born there, do not have citizenship in Lebanon. So Kamal's claims are absolutely ridiculous. As for Mordechai, he really well demonstrates his understanding of Arabic literature and also early Islamic history. So good on him. He's obviously going to be a good lecturer in that topic at Bar Ilan. But basically, he needs to look at the history of his own people, first of all, and recognise that, well, in the occupied territories today, there is still a very, very strong support for Meir Kahane. That will never, ever go away. He's quoted the Quran as if it's the only biblical text religious text that has passages that can be interpreted as violent. Well, we only need to look to the Tanakh to know about the violence against the Amalkim, against the Canaanite, the Maccabean fighting against the Romans. Again, he can look to the history of his own people and know that effectively committing suicide in war was probably first done by the Jewish people well before the advent of Islam. We only need to look at the events at the fortress of Masada to know that these are things that people in desperation do. And this is the whole point of what I was trying to emphasize. I wasn't trying to merely bring it back to a Palestinian-Israeli issue. I was trying to emphasize that a lot of children that we are referring to have no schools, no hospitals, no access to either of these, and therefore it's highly likely that they're going to be easily led towards extremism. Now, Chris, I'm sure you'll agree that the topic of the program today was innocent child to jihad warrior,
right.
And I think despite the fact that we've had 3 speakers essentially trying to argue for the affirmative and only me presenting for the negative, there's certainly been nothing compelling presented by any of the 3 that suggests that innocent children, which is in itself a loaded term, are being converted into jihad warriors in the places that we're talking about. Now, obviously, the speakers
Abdullah,
aren't going to be able to...
I'm sorry. So, and in the interest of time, I wish we had another hour or more. We're going to have to cut it here. I wanted to thank our guests, our panel here, Abdullah Kunda calling in from Australia, Dr. Kedar calling in from Israel. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of this, calling from other parts of the world. We do appreciate your time, your patience, and your input, obviously. I wish we could give more time for people to talk. Walid and Kamal, of course, God bless you, gentlemen, as well, for giving us your insight, and we're excited to continue to work with you on this Jihad Exposed program. We're going to continue with this series next week as well. Tune in live at 8 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Again, We normally are on a 90-minute segment. Tonight was a 2-hour program. Continue to call us here at 2